Yo, just wanted to share my thoughts on some of the gems. First off, we have Absolution and Dominating Blow of Inspiring. These are very similar. They provide us with a stronger version of the passive node Spiritual Aid at the cost of minions. Absolution loses 1 sentinel, whereas Dominating Blow loses 3 sentinels. If we have 100% increased minion damage, our character gains 250% of that as increased damage towards the skill itself. While it would be cool to play around with a hybrid minion build, sacrificing minions to gain increased damage is just not worth it, sadly. Next up is the Animate Guardian of Smiting. It has a cool ability but does not provide us or our minions with the Smite aura buff. Might be good as a damage dealer, but it depends on the damage numbers that the skill has. Sacrificing an Animate Guardian to use as a damage dealer is quite costly, however. You lose the possibility of having items like a Dying Breath or a Leer Cast. And if you really want to push its damage to high numbers, you would most likely have to invest quite a bit of currency. With the risk of an AG dying, I think this is quite clunky to play around. The next one is Cold Snap of Power. While I am a minion player and I mainly play Spectres, custom crit builds are a ton of fun to play. Custom crit builds are also quite popular among my guildmates. I think Cold Snap is gonna be a more powerful version of the Stormcall custom crit build that has been going around that uses Awakened Spell Cascade. Cold Snap has 10% base crit and a base radius of 25, which is only one radius smaller than a level 20 Stormcall. The Stormcall version went with Elementalist, but with Cold Snap we get to utilize the power of the Occultist. While not being able to reach the DPS values that Ice Spear custom crit can reach, I think Cold Snap will feel much better to play with, as the clear is gonna be much better. Power charges will also not be an issue, as the 50% base chance to gain a power charge on crit plus using power charge on critical support means we have a 100% chance to gain a power charge on crit. You could probably even play Cold Snap in a non-custom crit version, but it might be a little bit more clunky. Do note that custom crit builds are generally quite expensive and might not be viable for a casual player. Another one I wanted to talk about is Cremation of Xuming. It explodes a nearby corpse when it fires projectiles. This is similar to the Phantasmal Cremation we had, except Phantasmal Cremation required us to stack quality to 50%. This was not too hard to do with an Ashes of the Stars. We used this on the Necromancer along with a high level Unearth to explode very high health corpses. The Necromancer also used the Ascendancy node called Corpse Pact, which makes Unearth have an insane cast speed. Sadly, Cremation of Xuming only allows us to have a maximum of 1 geyser instead of 3. This means that we are not able to explode as many corpses as we could before. I think this pretty much kills the cremation builds, which is sad because although slow, it was a really solid tanky build to farm simulacrums with. Detonate Dead of Chain Reaction is another corpse explosion skill. I think this one is gonna depend on how quick the chaining explosions are. They need to be quite fast for the skill to feel good. It might be an alternative to Cremation, but I think it's hard to cast both Unearth and Detonate Dead at the same time. Using Spell Totem with Unearth could be an option, but the less cast speed is probably too costly. There might be something else we could use here that I have not thought about. Next up, the Raised Spectre of Transience. This is pretty much just a normal Raised Spectre gem plus a Soul's Wake Jewel with the addition of 1 extra maximum Spectre. We used to use a high quality Phantasmal Desecrate for a deterministic source of Flicker Shades along with this combo. If we do not get a similar deterministic source, I don't think this gem will be used. Summon Kales Golem of the Maelstrom seems like a pretty cool support option. It has a 20% chance to inflict a stack of Withered every second with its aura. The aura also deals 2.5 times as much damage and has close to 100% uptime and 50% more area of effect when compared to the normal Chaos Golem, but multiple auras from different golems do not stack, so probably not something we can use as main DPS.
Summon Raging Spirits of Enormity.
Everything about this one just screams minion instability. Should be really good if you like that playstyle. Then the Golems of Hordes. All Golem versions will have a Hordes variant. This just adds +2 to the maximum number of Golems. I'm very glad they chose to opt for +2 instead of +1. Really makes the Primordial Jewels and Anima Stone less important at the start. They will likely be more costly, however, as I am expecting Golem builds to be more popular this league. Not sure where the Elemental Golems will end, but Carrion Golems and Stone Golems, holy. The new race zombie without slam plus Carrion Golems? Log in? Question mark. Skeleton archers. I would love for these to work. If their damage gets buffed, yay. If not, nah. Then the last one is skeleton mages. Now, this is freaking awesome. They added the prismatic tag on the gem, which means we can use 2 combat focused jewels to make them only pick one element. Scaling one element is far easier than scaling multiple. This is a pretty big buff and should make skeleton mages great again. Also, prismatic burst support does not work. Yep,